Well, hello again, BookTube. And look at this, 2 videos in one day. I figured that I owed you that after being gone for over a month. I figured that you deserved at least 2 mediocre videos from me today. And once again, I am doing a video for Short Story Summer, which is a BookTube event, I believe, created by Randy Ray, the literate Texan, and it was created to celebrate short stories. So for the entire month of August, if you are participating in it, then you would be reading short stories. And I've gotten back into doing that. For the whole month of July and really the first week of August and that last week of June as well, I've had no time to do any reading. I'm in grad school right now, so and I'm on a couple-week break, so I can actually get back into doing some reading, and so the short stories have actually worked out pretty well for me. And I did a video earlier on a William Trevor short story, and today I'm doing, or at least for this, I'm doing a video on an Edith Wharton short story called Kerfol, off of this fancy piece of reading technology that I just got from a certain horse jockey on this side of BookTube. And sorry for the really boring cover here. I downloaded this from Project Gutenberg because it was free. I don't know with these Kindles. I don't know if you can change like the covers for the books or not. I'm still figuring out how to use this thing, and I'm still learning to use it. But this is, like I said, by Edith Wharton. I don't know if Kerfol, I would assume that's how you pronounce it. It's the name of, I guess, a broken down manor house in France. And this is a story, it's set in not long in the aftermath of the First World War. And this wealthy bachelor, who's the narrator of the story, he is sort of encouraged to buy this old manor house called Kerfol. And it has a really interesting history behind it, and this is sort of a supernatural, like a ghost story that Edith Wharton did. A lot of Edith Wharton's short stories, I mean, she's about as famous for her short stories as she is for her novels, and a lot of her short stories she delved into the supernatural. She wrote a lot of ghost stories, and this is one of her most popular ghost stories, supernatural stories. And this bachelor, he's looking into buying this house, so he goes to check out the property, and he is sort of being followed around by this group of dogs. These really strange dogs that they don't bark, and they don't go up and like try to get attention from the narrator. They just sort of sit there and watch him, and they follow him around when he walks all the way around this property. And so he goes back to see his friend who... Sorry, my own dog is being fussy. And so the narrator goes back to the place that he's staying temporarily, and he talks to his friend about seeing these dogs, and the friend is saying, "Oh, well, that's interesting because that manor house doesn't have any dogs that live there." And so he was really confused, and so the house is sort of haunted by the ghosts of these dogs, which is kind of interesting because with ghost stories, it's always the ghost of people. It's never really the ghost of any animals or anything like that. And so we sort of learn the backstory of what this manor house is and the people that used to live there. And the sort of master of the house, he ends up being killed there. And it's the authorities pretty quickly point the finger at his wife, who they believe that she killed him because... trying to avoid spoilers for a short story, but it seems kind of useless. There's a point in this story where this husband, this master of the house, he buys his wife a dog, and she like falls in love with the dog. It becomes the object of her affection, and he basically gets jealous of her and kills the dog. And so the authorities believe that she had this guy killed, had her husband killed because he killed her dog. But then there's some other strange things that go on with this story, and the other strange things go on with the story. And when you're reading this, you're beginning to wonder, okay, well, did she actually kill him, or was it somebody else, or something else that killed him? Because whenever they find his body is pretty chewed up and bloody and mangled, and his throat has a particular wound about it. And so, could it have been this wife that killed him, or could it have been someone or something else? And an interesting story overall. This is a really unpopular opinion, but I've always really struggled to get into Edith Wharton's novels and her fiction. I've tried, I think I'm going on 3 times in my attempts to read The House of Mirth, and I don't know what it is about it. I'm sure it's a me thing because everybody else loves it, but I just cannot get into it. The furthest I've gotten was 100 pages in, and I just could not do it. I don't know why. It's just something about the way she narrates her stories that I just cannot really get into. And I've tried a couple of her short stories, couldn't really get into them either. And I'll be honest, this was a similar struggle. A similar struggle with her other fiction. There's just something about her writing that I just cannot connect to at all. The story itself is interesting. I've grown up on horror novels and horror movies and supernatural stories. My middle school years were defined by Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe, and Dracula, and so I was excited to read this. But then it really didn't do much for me. I still think about it, after finishing it a couple hours ago, but I'm having sort of a lukewarm reaction to it. But of course, it's not a long story, it being a short story, and something else that I found interesting about Edith Wharton herself is that if you know anything about just her personal life, you know that she loved dogs, and she always owned like several dogs at a time, and that was just her, like, she loved them more than most people most of the time, which I can certainly understand that. I like dogs more than most people. The family dog, he's actually wedged up against me, not wanting me not within touching distance of him, and so I definitely understand where she was coming from with that. And so it was interesting that she created a whole story centered around dogs, and it had a supernatural bend to it. So yeah, sorry, my lock screen just sort of went away. But yeah, if you would probably like this story a lot more than I did. But this is my sort of entry for Short Story Summer. So tell me what you think about it, and I guess I'll see you next time.